Hello, my name's Rebecca, and today I'm going to show you what to do when you wake up feeling anxious or activated before the day even starts. So what's often happening here is that your nervous system is waking up already in that sympathetic state, so that fight or flight. We don't want to wake up like that. That does not feel nice. So when we wake up in the morning, our body naturally releases cortisol. This is called the cortisol awakening response. And it's actually meant to help us wake up, help us get moving for the day. But for people with sensitive nervous systems or people who are dealing with high levels of stress or have maybe dealt with trauma, that increases that energy. And sometimes it feels like anxiety or dread or this activation. So another piece of this is sympathetic energy, which is the energy that mobilizes the body for action. So throughout our lives, especially when we experience stress or trauma, the body can accumulate this sympathetic charge, these sympathetic charges. And energy that was meant to just move through our system, it doesn't always get fully released. So when the nervous system wakes up in the morning and energy starts flowing again, that charge can come online. And your mind might interpret these charges, these sensations, as anxiety, but really it's just activation in the nervous system. And the good news is that we can work with that energy in a very gentle way. So we can help the body to orient, to regulate, and to move that energy through. So let's begin, and I'm going to show you a few simple practices that you can do when you wake up in this anxious, activated state. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to have you do is do some orienting. So you can do this laying in bed, you can get up or sit up if you'd like. We're going to use our senses. So I want you to just start to look around the space. Just noticing if anything catches your eye. Maybe you can study something, maybe it's certain color, textures. Pulling in some safety here. These grounding strategies help to send those safety signals into our nervous system. Noticing the sounds in the space, taking a moment, noticing what you hear. Maybe you're still looking around the space. Maybe there's something your gaze has landed on. And maybe at the same time, your hands want to move onto the body. Or maybe there's a fuzzy blanket or pillow that is comforting to touch. Maybe you're bringing a hand onto the chest or the belly. Sending those safety signals, grounding, I am safe. Maybe even saying those words. Noticing the breath. Maybe it's a nice deep breath that moves in. Maybe exhaling with sound. Stimulating that vagus nerve, activating that parasympathetic branch, reducing some of that sympathetic activation. Maybe you're just following your breath, or maybe you're wanting to take another nice deep breath. Maybe on the exhale, releasing that exhale with sound, but also lengthening it so it's longer than the inhale. And then from here, if you are still in bed, I would suggest getting up here now. And we're going to move into a little bit of movement to help to release that sympathetic energy. So again, you can do this movement however you would like. Okay, but maybe you're just starting to bounce and kind of find a little bit of shaking. Maybe the hands want to shake. Maybe the feet want to bounce a little bit. Maybe you're moving back and forth. Maybe you're just in one spot. And we're going to do this for about a minute or so. You can do this for even longer. Okay, but just shaking out some of that sympathetic energy. Noticing the breath. Maybe you're wanting to take a deep breath. Maybe you're just following that breath. And maybe you want to even jog a little bit. You can always do that as well. And then we're going to come to stillness, and we're going to do a little bit of a swing. So we're kind of going to twist the hips and just wrap the arms around the body. Maybe you're closing the eyes here, maybe they're open, that's completely up to you. And then we'll come back to center, just taking a moment to notice here. And maybe a hand wants to come onto the chest, the navel, just notice how you're feeling in this moment now. Notice if that activation is still there. It's okay if it is, just acknowledging it and noticing it. And then from here, we're going to come into a forward fold. So we're going to inhale, arms up, and I want you to just reach up, maybe even come up onto the tippy toes for a moment, stretch, take an inhale. And then exhale, just dive down, forward fold. Knees are bent as much as they need to be here. Maybe the belly can come onto the thighs. Maybe you're grabbing the elbows and just finding a little bit of a sway from left to right here. Folding forward at the hips, head hanging, shoulders and head relaxed, crown of the head towards the ground. And then from here, we're going to roll up, vertebrae by vertebrae, inhaling as you lift that head, and coming back into that standing position, checking in with the body here. And maybe a sway wants to come in. So you can step back and forth, just slowing down the motion here, just swaying these hips. And noticing here if those hips want to move in circles as well. So maybe the hips want to move around one way in a circle. Maybe you're still wanting to move a little quickly. That's okay. Okay, notice the pace that you want to move at. And then moving the opposite direction. And you might keep doing these hip circles, or maybe you're ready to just find a little bit of a rock. Maybe you want to wrap the arms around the body. So you can bring your left hand under that right armpit and the right hand just to that kind of above the left elbow here. And just giving yourself a little bit of a hug and swaying. Making this motion your own, and that means maybe the eyes want to look around and orient again. Maybe you're noticing, tuning into the body, noticing whether you feel even just a little bit different. An option here to continue this way, we're going to just take a few breaths, 3 breaths, and we're going to hum on the exhale. So again, working with that vagus nerve once again to stimulate that parasympathetic branch. So the opposite of that fight, that flight. So let's take an inhale, and then we're just going to hum on the exhale. At your own pace, finding an inhale. And last one. And then releasing your hug. And I hope that that helped. I hope you feel just a little bit calmer and ready for your day. Thank you.